Hey guys, Romie here. Please like, comment, subscribe. Of course, this is Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 9, Episode 13. Sometimes it feels like I get away with murder, but this episode, even though it's entitled Into the Woods, it really should be Friendships Tested. Because it starts off with Phaedra and Kenya. They're going, glam camp shopping. While that's going on, we see that Porsha, she's actually at anger management, and she just needs help how to deal with the current situations that she's been having with the group that she's in. The real result would be, the real resolution would be for her to not be in the group anymore, but since that's not financially realistic, let's go and say, if I just continue to be in the group with the women that I don't necessarily like, how do I handle myself? Her advisor says, you know what, since you keep putting yourself in these scenarios where you're around the people that irritate you or possibly anger you the most, what you really should be doing is having backup. And I said, wait a minute, what? That guy threw me off, because normally someone would say you have to remove yourself from the situation, or you have to learn how to listen out. But clearly, maybe this guy watches the show. Maybe he watches the show and knows, for her particular situation, since she's not going anywhere, let's go and switch it up. Maybe she needs backup. Backup to kind of just give her the general reinforcement or security of, I don't have to act crazy or go left, because I know that regardless of the situation, someone will have my back. Because that's usually the issue. Porsha feels ganged up on. That's what she keeps saying. So if she has someone who is technically impartial in the sense where she's that person isn't gonna go and just start mess, maybe that is the best route. At first it did throw me off though, because I was like, But here we have Kenya, and Kenya talking about how, yeah, Porsha's in anger management, but clearly it's not working because look at what happened with us. Look, Kenya, Porsha doesn't like you. The fact that you were even talking about that, even though Phaedra gave you the ammunition, because Phaedra should have never said anything. That's the reason why things ended up the way they did. And Candy, at that point in time, she didn't need to come into the fray and say, wow, since that's the case, why can't it? We get it. We get it. The real thing is, Porsha didn't want to tell you guys at least, or have it come out that way, and she reacted the way that she reacted, and you could have just said, alright, we can talk about this at a later time if you want to, but anyway, talking about another friendship that's kind of being tested, we have Cynthia, who's talking to Matt. With all the stuff going on with Matt, I was a little surprised that Cynthia went to go and talk, but then I do remember her telling Kenya that she did want to speak with Matt and see if she could help the two of them come to a resolution. Well, the issue there is, Cynthia, Matt quickly acknowledged that he does have anger issues, and what he does is he does break stuff as a result. And Cynthia did say that, that's not acceptable. You can't handle things that way. But when she went, and I knew it was going to be an issue, but I'm glad that she at least said it to Kenya, and it didn't come out from Matt, because it would have made it a whole lot worse. When she said, well, Kenya can be a drama queen, so I understand that the two of you are actually really similar in that fashion. I knew that Kenya was going to have a major issue with it. Well, how do I feel? You guys know me at this point, I will have never phrased it that way, especially with the whole issue of, okay, it's going to look like I'm condoning. No, I wouldn't have phrased it that way, but Cynthia is telling the truth. Cynthia didn't besmirch Kenya's name. She didn't say anything that was a lie. Everything that came out of her mouth was the truth. That's not the issue here. That's not the issue here for me, and I feel like for a lot of you as well. The issue is who she told it to, and necessarily what words she chose, because of who her friend is. Not even necessarily the situation, but just because of who her friend is. So, but I guess Cynthia was trying to show the general similarities. It's just not going to come out that way. Anyway, now we have a party. We have a party for Shamia. It's Shamia's wedding. I thought Shamia was already married, but she was engaged to be married, and so this was her. What was it called? This was kind of like her wedding slash bachelorette party, but grown woman style. And everyone was there except for, everyone was actually there except for Kenya and Porsha. Kenya, we understood because her and Kenya aren't the best of terms. Candy has invited her new friend. This new friend looks like she's going to try and get her onto the show. What was her name? Was it Hazel? Because I know that Leah was there as well. But anyway, yeah, it was Hazel. Hazel is an up-and-coming singer, and Candy's trying to go and get her around certain people so that maybe she can branch off and do big things in Atlanta. So I'm like, okay, cool. Oh, Sheree's there. Of course, Phaedra's there. Essentially, everyone's... Well, actually, no, Phaedra isn't there, obviously, because of the stuff going on between the two of them. And things just take a weird turn because, one, everyone else didn't get the memo. Everyone else didn't get the memo. When I say everyone else, I mean Candy was there. She was dressed in white. Carmen was there. She was dressed in white. Everyone else was kind of dressed, not regularly, but in party wear. But so Marlo was there, Sheree was there, and Cynthia was there. So that was the first thing, because they got the Evite last minute. Secondly, Porsha didn't come there, even though it was for her friend. And we knew that was going to be something. Shamia was instantly upset. And if you guys notice, at the party, under Shamia's name, it said Candy's friend. I said, the production needs to stop now. So they go upstairs, and then they have a further conversation of the reason why they think Porsha isn't coming. And, you know, they let it be known that Porsha was having issues with Candy and also Kenya, and so that's why she didn't come. Shamia was hurt because, like, regardless of what issues you have going on with these ladies, at least come for me. And, you know, I do get that. I completely get that. But I do respect Porsha's decision not to come, only because we've seen how, regardless of whose party it is, there's always something. There's always something. So I get Porsha's decision as well. Shamia deserves to be upset because, like, really, and it's odd that Shamia is also caught in the middle between Candy and Porsha at this point. So she should understand Porsha's stance. Now, what's interesting is when the information came out from Sheree that, you know, Phaedra did say some things about you sleeping around with everyone's husband in Atlanta, and Porsha, and what did Porsha do? She didn't say anything. She didn't respond, which is true. Porsha gave a look like, oh God, we're really doing this, but she didn't go and outwardly say, oh, that's wrong, that's wrong. Sidebar, Shamia was right when Shamia was saying stuff about Phaedra, and Porsha said, we're not doing that. So it's like, why couldn't you do that for me when it was your other friend, even though I'm your real friend, and Phaedra's your friend too, but she's your friend of maybe 2 years plus, and let's not forget that you two weren't always on the best of terms, and that she didn't always think so highly of you. And it's all true. And I'm thinking, alright, here we go. Friendship slowly, this episode was like friendship slowly imploding. Cynthia invited Kenya to her house so that, you know, the lake house, it's, she has it, she's in it. All of her stuff isn't in it. I'm thinking she's probably also getting some new stuff, but all of her stuff isn't in it. I think Noelle's probably still with her father right now. And Cynthia lets it be known, I talked with Matt. Oh, okay, cool. What did you talk to Matt about? I talked to Matt about the situation at hand. Okay, and how did that go? Yeah, so I told him that what he's doing is unacceptable, breaking the stuff, coming to your house, how he's been reacting. I did say that I do see that, you know, Kenya can be dramatic, and so certain things can be either misconstrued or, you know, along those lines. And we know how Kenya is. So Kenya, it's like, you know, this is what I don't understand. Because, mind you, Kenya first came to the house, had her dogs, you know, find a place to piss and poop. And I'm like, now Kenya, you can say hello to this woman. You having your... Anyway. So Kenya was over it, and this is a two-part thing. I understand why Kenya was upset, because how the information was presented to her. It was presented in the fashion, in her mind, of, oh, this is supposed to be my friend, but my friend is defending my ex more so than me, and he's the one that's physically doing stuff and acting crazy, whereas I may be possibly antagonizing. But why is it that, you know, people are always coming at me? I'm so tired of people coming at me, and I'm so tired of people feeling like it's my fault or I have fault when these other people are reacting the way that they want to react, and all I'm doing is saying stuff verbally. Here's the thing, Kenya. That's the issue itself. Everyone reacts differently. I keep saying this. I feel like in most of my videos I say this because I need you to understand that the way how you react constitutes some type of reaction. Unfortunately, you can't predetermine what that said reaction will be. That's how this really works in life. You can't say, oh, because I verbally said this or I verbally did that, that constitutes them coming at me like that, and then either we come to a resolution or we don't. No, some people will go and curse you out and go really under the table with it, or you know, break something or get physical. Not saying that any of this period, including the verbal, is right or not, but that's just how it is. Everyone reacts differently. So she storms off because, you know, Cynthia was trying to say, no, I did have your back, Kenya. I did not just go there and throw you under the bus. And Cynthia did bring it around about, because when she was talking to Matt, like I said, she said, I understand that Kenya can be dramatic. She said, be dramatic in front of Kenya's face. She said, flat out drama queen to Matt. But she did say, but you act the same way as well. So you two are very similar, and that's part of the problem. You do it in the breaking stuff thing is a whole nother level, but you two are very similar. And because the thing is, what do you want? Just wanted a general understanding of where they stand and just coming to a general agreement or disagreement. So that whole thing blew up in your face. Guess who comes to Shamia's house? Porsha comes to Shamia's house, and of course Porsha gave Shamia some very nice glasses as a wedding gift, but she knew she couldn't be there. She knew she couldn't be there at the party, and she explained why, and the situations that she was having with the ladies, and that's why she didn't want to come. Now, Shamia said, I understand that, but you're supposed to be my friend. You're supposed to be able to put that stuff aside. And in a perfect world, Shamia's right. In a perfect world, that makes complete sense. In this reality show game, the real reality is, if someone's having a problem with another person, it doesn't just go away. We can't just go and fake the funk. And so Porsha is trying to essentially say that without saying that. And I don't want anyone here to say, oh, well, you need to be able to control your... If you are having an issue with someone who's friends with your other friend, and there's negative energy, that can be felt. And if it's a real issue, you can't just go and fake the funk. Most people can't. So, I completely get where Porsha is coming from. I do understand that Shamia still is entitled to feeling hurt, because the situation was messed up. It was, but the thing is, the party was thrown by Candy. So that's the other part. It was thrown in her honor, in Shamia's honor, but it was thrown by Candy. It's not like Shamia threw it and Porsha didn't come to her friend's party, period, that she threw for herself. But Shamia said, that's only part one. Part two is, why did I have to hear from Sheree that you were around Phaedra, your so-called friend, that said certain things about me, and from what I was told, you didn't do anything about it. You didn't say anything in my defense. You just didn't say or do much of anything. And it's true. She didn't. She didn't. She didn't say a lick. And it was like when the shoe was on the other foot, and I was talking about said friend of yours, you were very boisterous. I was like, oh, I don't recall. I'm thinking, Porsha, you were just mad at Phaedra. Apparently you two weren't really talking because you need to distance yourself from your so-called friend. And yet you did the same thing Phaedra did to you. And interesting. Maybe you two are a lot more alike than you realize. Kenya and Sheree are both having little housewarming stuff. The difference is, because Sheree's house is still under construction, she's like, yeah, y'all aren't going inside. We're going to have some nice little snacks and finger foods outside. You know, have some nice little cupcakes, have some plastic utensils. I'm keeping it all the way real. Open the champagne. Oh, it's dripping out. You know, some for the homies. This is cool. That's all I love you, Sheree. Kenya clearly had the better setup because her house is pretty much done, and the first one to show up was Cynthia. And Cynthia just wanted to make it very clear that I am on your side, regardless of how you feel. I'm on your side. I am your friend. I understand that you feel a certain way because you probably having flashbacks of you know, back when we were on vacation and the whole Nene came back, and now we weren't really as close as I thought we were, which I thought was just stupid to begin with. But we are friends. I did defend you. Have you talked to Matt? No. Okay then. So at some point, I know you two will talk because this is you two I'm talking about. You'll see that I did have your back. And I was like, okay. Let bygones be bygones. Marlo's coming on the trip, and Marlo's clearly gonna bring the glam portion. Ooh, excuse me. Candy shows up at, what's her name? Candy shows up at Kenya's house, and Phaedra shows up at Kenya's house. I was surprised because I would have assumed that wherever Kenya went, no, wherever Porsha was going, that Phaedra would go. But sometimes that's not the case, because I'm thinking to myself, I know Porsha is not going to come to Kenya's house. That just didn't make any sense. That made zero sense. So they're talking about, right, what type of issues they're having with the ladies, the issues that they're having with Marlo, the issues they're having with Porsha. And Porsha brings Lauren, you know, her sister, because of the whole thing of, if I'm going to this trip, I need to bring some type of backup. And she shows up to Sheree's house, which I figured she would. She said, okay, this is great and all. Oh, we're having stuff outside? Oh, okay, cool. Well, anyway, let's go to this other side of your house, because I need to have a conversation with you. And she just needed to know, why did you bring that stuff up in front of Shamia and all the other people? Well, you know, I just wanted to keep it real and keep it honest. Like, I know Sheree's messy, so I didn't expect anything less. But dang, why in front of Candy, though? Why in front of Candy? And the thing was that everything that Sheree said, it was true. At least I have to give it up to her for that. She didn't go and mince words. She didn't go and put 20 on 10. She put 20 on 10 by, you know, being vocal about it. But she didn't go and lie. She didn't go and embellish. So Porsha can't be too mad. And she wasn't. She was just more so the fact, like, dang, it had to come out of your mouth even though Shamia's my friend. Like, you see how that looks? You see how that looks? And it's not like it even needed to really be brought up. It did need to be brought up. It just needed to be brought by Porsha. So that was the only issue there. Everyone's wondering how the trip's going to go, if Portia's actually going to show up, because Porsha gave Phaedra, yeah, maybe I will, maybe I won't. The bus shows up at Kenya's house, so they have to go up the hill with their luggage into this bus. I said, you know what, Kenya, you're doing too much. And of course Candy brought her friend Hazel, so we're thinking, oh, okay. Porsha decides, you know what, since Kenya is actually just down the road, why don't we go and spy on her and see, you know, what's going on there, if the bus is there already, if everyone else is there already. And when they saw the bus, they're like, oh crap, they had to run back. And mind you, apparently, like I said, Porsha, Phaedra was supposed to come with Porsha to Sheree's house, but Phaedra said, no, I'm going to actually go to my new friend Kenya's house instead, because it's already done, it's hot, I know I'm going to have some central air. Anyway, the bus ride gets off to a rocky start. You know, Marlo was talking about her contribution because Phaedra was saying, the first day, let's go and truck it out. Let's go and really do some authentic camping. I ordered a porta potty. They said, we're not taking a poop in no dang porta potty. We make way too much money for that mess. Now, this Marlo talked about her financial consulting services. Hazel said, so why are we taking advice from you? I said, Candy, keep her. Because her delivery was perfect. Her delivery was perfect. She did it in such a way, and Marlo said, well, because this is what I do, this is what I know where you come from. It's like, no disrespect. I honestly not familiar, with the group or with what you do, so, like, clearly, fashion-wise, you got it together, so that's why I was just assuming, oh, is that why? It's like, oh, yes, oh, yes, darling, exactly. Oh, okay. Everyone's like, oh, she can stay. She's messing with Marlo. And this is her second taping, she can stay. Marlo said, because if it was skincare, I would definitely come to you, because, you're beautiful. It's like, oh, thank you. Exactly. All love. It's like, okay, all love. I have to keep my eye on her now, but you know what? She cute, so I'm thinking, Candy, why didn't you bring her sooner? Like, 1, I like to look at her. 2, I like to hear her talk. 3, she just looks like a fresh breath of fresh air. Hazel can stay. Back to the foolishness. The foolishness of, what is, no, it's facial. What is Porsha doing? Wow, what's going on? Are you 2 gonna be okay? Are you 3 gonna be okay? I didn't know Lauren was coming. Yeah, Lauren's essentially the backup. And Lauren was just like, you know what, for this trip, can we just not do the whole, everyone taking offense at what my sister's saying? It's not that serious. Porsha acknowledges the fact that she is still in anger management, and she brings this note. I'm thinking, Porsha. And it started off, my client, and they were like, wait, you mean your patient? And I was like, no, my client. It means my client because I'm paying for his services. It's like, oh, okay, but because of the services you're paying for, you are a patient. It's like, no, I'm not, contrary to very popular belief, I'm not on any medication, I'm not doing that. I'm his client. We're like, oh, okay, if you're his client, you're his client. We understand. So the note was just saying that she needs to it's okay for her to bring her sister for moral support. They're thinking, how old are we now? But look at the group that she's in. It actually makes sense because of the group that she's in. And she's saying, I'm getting the work, I'm doing the work, doing what needs to be done. She's like, I'm very open about it. We're like, you don't need to be open about it. You don't need to say that stuff because now they're going to go nitpick at that. And that's what started to happen. So that's when her sister stepped in and said, what, let's not try to do this. And they're like, oh, well, you don't need to go and do that. I'm thinking, you really are going to come between 2 sisters. You're going to go out one sister and think the other one's not good. There's some shows where you can do that because the siblings don't actually like each other. Some of you may be familiar with that, but Lauren and Porsha are like this. So, that's not going to happen on this trip. There's going to be a lot of mess, though. Please like, comment, subscribe. Come back next week.